Now I would like to show you game 26 of this book written by Cyrus Lakdawala, Capablanca Move by Move. The series Move by Move is based on some questions that the author puts at critical times. Game 26 was played between Capablanca, that was white, okay, and Janowski, that was black. It was played in St. Petersburg in 1914. Why do I want to see this game? For a simple reason. One of the favorite openings by Fischer was this e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. And of course you tell me, well, everybody knows the Spanish, right? Yes, everybody knows the Spanish. But at this point, after a6, Fischer took this old concept that was left behind from the past and continued with bishop takes c6. This is the exchange Spanish. It's very sharp. It doesn't, some people think that it's like the French exchange. It's a kind of drawish opening. It is not. Be very, very careful. Like I mentioned in another video, I also started to play e4 when at the beginning of my chess career, and I didn't study well the opening. I played this because Fischer played it, but unfortunately I didn't study it, and so I found myself in some troubles. Okay. Here it says, the heavy maneuvering games which arise from the exchange Lopez, is also called Ruy Lopez, from the bishop that wrote the theory force, admirably suited the Capablanca style. I'm surprised he didn't play the opening more often. Okay, and here you can continue with two moves. B takes c6 or d takes c6. Generally d takes c6 is the most played. After which there is knight c3 and bishop c5. Here it says too mechanical. Kappa made the same mistake last chapter versus Pavlov and Seleznev in game 15. I don't think c5 is the correct spot for the bishop, and would play 5 or 6 instead. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I think this f6 was maybe found by the computers because it doesn't make any sense, you know? It's a move that strangely weaken all your light squares, yet is the good one to play in this opening. So, I don't know. Okay. So let's see what happens after d3. Now, would you take this, yes or no? It seems is not a good idea, because here it says queen g5. Continue with queen g5. Very interesting. And after queen g5 there is d4, queen takes g2, queen f3, queen takes f3, knight takes f3, so it protects d4, and now bishop b4. And here it says black's bishop pair in the open position means more than white's pawn center. So practically he says, yes, white has the pawn center, but black has the two bishop, and so he has a good position. But in reality, if I may say, obviously black has another advantage, that this pawn structure, it's a kind of shaky, right? This is isolated, this is backwood. Instead, black has a kind of good pawn structures for the pawns. So now let's go back and let's see how the game actually went. So we have seen what happens if white plays knight takes e5. In the game, Capablanca played d3. Now, I want to tell you one thing. When I was watching this, I was trying to see what happens after this. And then that's why I was taking my time speaking, because I was trying to find the right move, right? Because it looks like he lost, but in reality he didn't, because he can play this. And so nothing. It was an interesting situation, but sometimes, you know, when you see a game, you ask yourself why he didn't play that move, and the book doesn't tell you why. The author didn't think of it. Why he didn't think of it? Because the author is generally a strong player, and so he discards moves that for us are correct or very good. So d3. And here there is this bishop g4, that is this interesting pin, okay? Let's see what happens. White continues with bishop e3, and here there is what the author says it's a strategic error. Janowski plays bishop takes e3. He should have gone to d6, he says. Why it's a strategic error? Because he says by taking on e3, Janowski just eliminated his own bishop pair, strengthened the opposing center, and also opened the f5 for white. So why this is bad? Because now black has only one bishop, not two. The bishop pair is generally very strong. This took two with the center, so which means he becomes very strong also in the center, and then it's opening the f5 to attack. So that's why bishop takes e3 wasn't a good idea. Okay. Next move is f takes e3 and queen e7. Also here again, probably the right move was like f6 and then knight e7. So sometimes the squares that you put your pieces, especially in the opening, must be you must be careful, because you cannot use it anymore. Here queen e7, it's another mistake practically, also if it's not written that it's a mistake. And white continued with castle, and black played long castle, which is considered dubious. He says one shouldn't rush to embrace every imbalance. Before attempting to cure a disease, a physician must first locate it. Janowski offers his mind to security and his heart to attack. Unfortunately, an attack which only exists in his imagination. White is much faster. Okay. Here there is also another comment that shows that the author did his job, in the sense that he checked many different sources for writing this book. He says, Kasparov said that Kappa mainly won his games due to his greater strategic understanding. So far was Kappa ahead of his peer strategically, that sometimes it almost felt as if one player understood the castling and en passant rules, while all his opponents were unfamiliar with the basic rule of chess. Okay, yeah, it's possible. But if that's true, is where did Capablanca gain all that knowledge, right? Because unfortunately it seems he was just watching the father playing chess with the uncle, I don't know, if I remember well, right? Okay, so queen e1 is the continuation here. Why? Because now this is unpinned, and so you are asking the question to black, how do you continue? and black continue with knight h6. So he wants to finish the opening and putting the rook into connection. And notice that he didn't block this diagonal for the queen with a move like bishop f6. Okay, and then it was played rook b1, so probably white is starting the attack here. Okay, so here it says that rook b1 has a double exclamation mark, and it says why give such an obvious attacking move a double exclamation mark. And here it says because it's not wasting time with the move a3 to move before, right? So he's already putting the rook in the right square. Okay, how does white continue? Black continue with b6, f6 and b4. So he's already attacking practically. Knight f7 and a4. Obviously, if you want to dismantle the castle, he must give something. So after a4 there is bishop takes f3, and here there is rook takes f3 followed by b6. Okay, so now nobody has the bishop pair, they only have knights, one knight each. Yeah, okay, so here the question is what would you do if you were white? So pause the video and try to find it out, because the question is obviously that Janowski thinks that he was able to stop this. Now, since you are attacking, what do you do? Do you do this, or what do you do? So I hope you pause the video. White played b5, exclamation point. C takes b5, a takes b5. After which there is a5. Obviously you want to keep the lines close, but will you be able to do it? I don't know. So let's see. Knight d5, rightly. And look, this knight d5 opens the diagonal for the queen, so it's kind of a good move, I think, right? Okay, so it continues with queen c5, and now there is c4. Beautiful move, right? And there is knight g5, rook f2, and knight e6. Okay, so he says here we don't have any doubt that Capablanca is better. Okay, but what would you do now? What is your plan, right? So here is where you see the genius of Capablanca, because he understands that he must improve the position. He must improve the position. What does he do to improve the position? Well, it seems that the fourth move is queen c3, after which there is rook d7. So notice that probably white consider this a kind of isolated pawn and wants to push it as soon as possible, which makes sense, honestly. Okay. So here it says rook d1, and now there is king b7, which is a mistake. It seems that this king b7 is the losing move. That's incredible. He should have played queen d6 more. Okay, after king b7 there is d4 and queen d6. And now practically black needs to be able to push this here and break the center. Let's see if he's able to do it, okay? Let's see if he's able to do it. Okay, d4, queen d6, okay, is there. And now there is rook c2, very good move. Very good move. Rook c2 is interesting because if something happens here, he can enter inside. So obviously who wouldn't want that? So after that there is rook c2, e takes d4, e takes d4. And then knight f4. I'm sorry, it's a mistake. Knight f4. And here it says dropping a rook, but it actually didn't matter a bit. Okay, so let's see what happens. After knight f4, there is a c5. And then there is knight takes d5. Very good, interesting. E takes d5. Queen takes d5. And c6, check. And here it says that it's game over, but black continue with king b8, c takes d7, queen takes d7, d5, rook e8, d6, c takes d6, and queen c6, and here black gives up. Here it says such a win without the appearance of effort against world-class opponents, were the main reason so many of the top players in the world at the time fear Capablanca.